What's up, world? I'm King James. Welcome to uTV exclusive dish, the healthy option. Today I'm standing here with Gloria, and she is going to be showing us how to make homemade tamales. Gloria, welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much.
So, Gloria, tell us a little bit about the history of the recipe you're going to be using today.
Well, it was my mother's recipe to begin with a long time ago. And as the years went by, I learned how to make them, and I added my own touches. And they're great. They come out really good, and I hope that whoever is going to look at this will like it.
So it sounds like there's a lot of tradition behind this recipe.
Very much. A lot of years in the making and the learning, and I think it's a great recipe. I hope everybody likes it.
Well, I'm excited. I'm sure our viewers are excited. Are you excited?
Very much so. Very much so. I like to share with everybody.
Well, there you have it. Everybody get out your measuring cups, take some notes, and let's get started. Gloria, let me get out of your kitchen so you can do your thing.
Okay. Okay, the first step when you're making tamales is you have to get your pork roast. You need to get the best prices you can look around, buy them, and make sure they don't have too much fat on them. And if they do, you have to trim that off. What I do is I buy one that looks like it doesn't have that much fat and no bone. And then I slice it in chunks, like this. Like that. Slice it up. Turn it over. See this fat on the back? You can trim that off, or you can take it off after you cook it. It's easier to do. So all you do is just cut it up. Well, the reason I'm slicing it up is because it's easier to cook when it's a smaller pieces, smaller chunks, and it takes less time. Okay, after that's sliced, then I go to the stove where the water is boiling, right here. After the water is boiling, you gotta add 7 garlic cloves to the water and 3 tablespoons of salt, and then put your meat in here. Put all the meat in there. Make sure that you have enough water in there to cover the meat, and it's gonna cook for at least 2.5 hours. And then while this is cooking, you go to the next step. The next step is you get your corn husks, which are dry, put them in a big pot with hot water for at least 1.5 hours, 2 hours, so they get soft. The end product is this. We're cooking the meat already, and then we're going to do the chili sauce with the chili products right here, California and New Mexico. When you do the chili pots, you have to wear gloves because they're to take all the seeds out and then cook them. I already cooked the chili pots, and I'm going to blend them. I put 5 cloves of garlic in here, and a teaspoon of cumin in here. And chili árbol is spicy to taste, okay? And I add the salt. 1 tablespoon, right there. The cooked product is right here, and we are gonna add it in here. Add it in here, and add some of the water that we cooked the chilies in. Like 2 cups in here. But you have to blend it. And you start by our chilies are blended, and that's the finished product right there. Alright, the meat is cooked, and we are now adding the sauce. Slowly. Done. You have to let it boil for at least half an hour, 45 minutes. So the meat gets the taste of the sauce. The meat has to be cool before you can put it into tamales. Let that do that. We're going to go to the next step. To the cornmeal, the masa, and get everything going. The first process that you do when you make tamales is that you have to buy the pork meat. You have to go to places where you get the best prices. The best pork meat is if you get it, it doesn't have no bone in it and not too much fat. After you buy the pork roasts, you bring them home, you slice them in chunks, and you have your pot ready with the water to cook the meat. You add your garlic and you add your salt. That's the first step. So you let that boil for 2.5 hours or maybe 3 hours. After that, when that is cooking, you get everything else ready. When the meat is cooked, you have to take it out of the pot, let it cool, and then you dice it, cut in chunks, put it in a plate, put it into the pot. You put the pot that you use the meat to cook in, you put 4 cups of water in there, that broth, you add the meat, and then you make the chili sauce. Chili sauce is, well, for some people it's hard to make, but you have to have the right chilies to do that. Chile de árbol, California peppers, and New Mexico. And those have to be boiled for 1 hour, 2 hours, until they're soft, and then you blend them. You add garlic, you add cumin, and a little bit of salt. Not too much, to taste. You have to kind of figure out how much. Taste it. If it's not, I like my own chili sauce a little bit spicy, but that's to taste. What we're doing now is we're going to do the masa. I add 4 tablespoons of lard, put it in here until it gets soft, and after it's soft you have to let it cool because you have the stove on. You have to let it get melted. Now that the lard is melted and it's cool, we're going to take it over to the cornmeal for the next step. This is cornmeal It's already prepared when I buy it. But I add my own lard and the broth from the meat that I cook, and I mix it up, which I'm going to do right now. And then I add a little bit of baking powder, maybe 2 teaspoons of that in here, and 2 teaspoons of salt more. So I'm going to add the lard now. I can do that, plus about 2 cups of broth goes in there, and then you have to mix it. Put your hands in there, get the lard and the broth. It has to be done. You have to knead it until you have the right consistency to put it on the corners. Since it's already prepared, it doesn't need that much. A lot of ladies don't like it prepared. They like to do their own. I think it's easier if you buy it already prepared. Just add your own things to it. See? Put the lard, baking powder, salt, broth, and it's done.